What's up, Raider Nation? I am the Commish, coming to you live from Hardcore Challenge Live Studios, deep behind the enemy lines. This is Raider Reaction. What's up, Nation? Thank you for joining me again. Here we are, hump day, right in the middle of a week. And what's up, Chuck? What's up, Chris? What's up, everybody else? Say thank you for joining me again. Tonight, we are going to discuss the Derek Carr story, Vegas Stadium update, Donald Penn, NFLPA rookie premiere, backup quarterback battle, wide receiver battle, the Commish's top 5 Raider receivers of all time, and we'll end the show on my WTH. What's up, Florida Raider Nation? Representing all the way here from Germany. I'd probably like to stay. It was gorgeous out today, although it was like 100 degrees out today, like literally. I think it was 99 or 100, so I don't know how you're handling that from Germany, but it was brutal. Well, Leslie, we do know that Mr. Brady, apparently, his wife let the cat out of the bag this morning and says his bell's been rung many, many times. Many more times than he wants to lead on or wants anybody to know. I'm not terribly shocked by that. I think his team would pretty much sweep anything under the rug to keep him on the field. They've long storied history of bending and breaking any rule they can to. So I don't see them going around concussion protocols. Sup, Assassin Angel Eyes? Sup, Jennifer? I don't see them going around concussion protocol to be able to keep their boy on the field. So that does not come as a shock to me at all. I don't think that should come as a shock to anybody that the Patriots were bending rules. But a positive, though, I guess if you want to think of a positive of a guy getting multiple concussions, said his days are numbered, like I have been saying for weeks now. Father Time is undefeated, and Tom Brady's clock is ticking. The clock for the Patriots is ticking too, because if you think the Patriots are going to stay as good and as relevant as they have been, but no, it's not going to happen. The big fall off and the suck is coming for the Cheatriots. What's up, Jennifer? The suck is coming, and it is coming soon. Every team rides the highs and the lows. Sometimes the lows are longer than they should be, and sometimes the highs are longer than they should be. But regardless, there is always highs and lows. Now, the Patriots have been on a high for a while. It's been a little of this up at the top. But they will come down. Everybody comes down. Nobody is immune to the cycle that is the NFL. You will come down. Nobody stays on top forever. Nobody. No one. Including Mr. Avocado Ice Cream and the hoodie. Even them are not immune to the cycle of the NFL. Their day's coming. They're just, the Patriots are just so lucky that they're in the worst division in football. I mean, they've got 4 or 5 wins locked down every freaking season. They play the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins. At best, I completely agree, Chuck. I completely agree. It's probably why he's eating rice cakes every day. So, definitely didn't want to start out with him, but I saw that in the comments, so I figured, hey, let's run with it. It was started off the sports day first thing this morning on, you know, one of the morning coffee shows. Giselle comes out and drops the bomb. Oh, by the way, my husband's had his bell rung more than once. Well, no kidding. Shocker. Like we didn't know that. Okay? Yeah, he's had his bell rung, and, you know, they bent the rules to keep him on the field. Not a big shocker. Not a big shocker to anybody. Now, the other big story today, which was the biggest garbage story that I've seen in a while. You can tell that the football news cycle is churning slow right now. That there's nothing going on. Because they're out. Chuck, I gotta agree with you there. I would be a rice cake eating fool. But you see, it's been loads. There's nothing in the news right now, football related. You got teams and rookie mini camps and OTAs, and they're having mandatory mini camps come up, and there's just not a lot going on right now. So, some bottom of the barrel news guys on the internet decide they'll dig up a story and say that Derek Carr is frustrated and unhappy with the Raiders, and he doesn't feel like things are moving fast enough. So, Jacob? So, everybody knows that this deal will be done before training camp. Reggie came out and said the deal is going to be done between the draft and training camp. The draft was just 2 weeks ago. This is a simple posturing between an agent and the people that he's trying to get money from. That's all this is. That's all this is. This is just some guy who needed to drive clicks this week, and he didn't have enough foresight to go out and make up stuff. Hey, I tell you what, Mr. Guy who decided to write this junk garbage story about Derek Carr. I fill 5 hours of talking straight Raiders every week. If I can dig up 5 hours of stuff to talk about, then I'm sure you can come up with a better story than that garbage. And you don't have to fill 5 solid hours of info. You've just got to put out a few articles a week on your little website. Bust out some tweets. Now, why you got to pull up some garbage like that when you know that there is 0% chance that DC does not come into this season with a contract? That is just absolutely ridiculous. The guy is our franchise. Everybody knows he's our franchise. All you got to do is go look at what happened in the 2016 season. My God, we're 12-3, and DC goes down, and the bottom falls out. Why? He's the most important player on our team. I'll come right out and say it, and I have no qualms about saying that. DC4 is what makes the motor run. He's got to be on the field. He's our captain. He's our leader. The kid, he has it. He has it. And that's, I agree, Chuck. Fire that guy. Maybe they could offer me a job. But, I mean, I saw this story and I was just like, wow, somebody's really reaching today. Like, you could just tell that it was like, he's just like, man, I heard for 2 weeks and you talk about the Derek Carr contract. He must be unhappy. He must be unhappy. He's not unhappy. He's just chilling, man. It's off season. These guys are gearing up and getting ready to get deep into it for the next several months. It's just ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous story. Derek Carr is not unhappy with the Oakland Raiders. Come on. Seriously? This will get done. This is one thing I am not worried about. This is one of the things on my timeline of what's going to happen, needs to happen before training camp, needs to happen before preseason, needs to happen before the season starts. The Derek Carr contract is not one of them that I am even the least bit concerned about. So that guy, Mr. Silver, man, you need to work a little harder for your storylines, because that was weak. That was severely weak. Now, just to stay up to date on what's going on with the Vegas relocation. Like I said, the owners' meeting is next week. They're saying that they've got everything ironed out now as far as the lease agreement and the paperwork involving what they need to get signed and finalized to be able to present it to the owners meeting next week on the 22nd, 23rd. They're saying that tomorrow they will be voting all that in and taking care of crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's and gift wrapping it and getting it all ready to go present next week to the owners meeting. So it's looking like they're just digging through the nuts and bolts, getting everything finalized. Like I said, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And it's going to be on schedule to be presented at this owners meeting. Because there was a chance that if they didn't get this owners meeting, the next one was in October, which was really going to push back the deadline to hit the 2020 season. Which I still say is very, very hinged upon the fact that shovels are in the dirt by the first of the year. First week in January, we better see activity on that site. That's what I heard too, Chuck. I heard everything's good. That tomorrow's just a formality to get it all ready to go. Just gift wrapping it and getting it ready. Which is good. I'm glad to hear. So far, I've been very, very impressed with how quickly they've moved through this process. Very quickly moved through this process. And they went right out to the site. Geotechnical tests started quickly. They got everything finalized. Moving right through it very quickly. Considering that this was the end of March. We're still only mid-May. And they're talking about lease agreements are done and ready to present to the owners meeting. This was end of March when this was voted through. So this has been a very, very fast process. And I'm just impressed at how quickly it's moved along. Just every time you think there might be a roadblock put up, they seem to bust right through it and keep rolling. All to the chagrin of Mr. Mark Cuban, who thinks it's a bad idea. But like I said last night, nobody really cares what that rich guy thinks. He's just the rich puppet that they got to put up there when they need somebody to have something negative to say or drive views, be that shock value. So Michael's on the record. He said December 21st, and I hope he's correct because which I wouldn't be surprised because across the board they have been ahead of the schedule. Thank you for sharing, guys. Share it up. Share it up. We got to spread it all over. Every weeknight, every weekday, into the late night. We got all kinds of crazy, crazy talented hosts on this page. Check them out. We got JD. We got Taz. We got Drea. We got The Bear. We got Deadman. Nick. Man, we got all kinds of flavor. We got Soul. All kinds of flavor on this channel. So check it out. Share it up. We're trying to paint this nation silver and black. From tip to tip and corner to corner. So, that's really the latest update. And, like I said, I'm glad to see everything is ahead of schedule. And right on point with where we need it to be. Now, this weekend is the NFLPA Rookie Premiere. Now they invite all of the top rookies out for this premiere and they parade them, to the tops. And typically, this is not the rookies that they select to come to that are typically they want offensive skill players. A defensive lineman doesn't have a lot of flash, typically. As a matter of fact, everybody that they invited this year is all offensive across the board. So, last year at the NFLPA Rookie Premiere, our first 3 picks were defensive, so none of those guys even got invited. It was Connor Cook and DeAndre Washington that actually got invited. So, like Chuck says, man, they want the marketable stars there. So this year, at the NFLPA Rookie Premiere, the Raider Nation will not be represented at all. Because we drafted defensive heavy, only really taking the one offensive guy pretty much with our first 7 picks, and that was Elijah Hood. And he's not Flash. So we're not even getting represented at the National Football League Players Association Rookie Premiere. There will not be any Raider rookies there representing the silver and black. Now that's some BS. That's some BS right there. I mean, they could have took somebody. I mean, like, took one of our defenders. It's just some BS that there's not a single Raider there to represent us at this event for the NFL. That no Raiders will be there. Hood is good though, Randolph, but he doesn't got the flash for when they're what they're trying to do and parade these guys up across the stage. And I suppose our number one pick, Garyon Conley, because of all of the negative press, he wasn't somebody that they wanted to get up there and parade around. Obi-Wan would have been nice. Why couldn't he have been the guy that came there to represent the rookie class for the Raiders? But we have totally been left out of the National Football League Players Association Rookie Premiere that will be happening this weekend in Los Angeles. The Raiders will not be represented. We do not have a rookie on the charter list of players that are going. They just didn't want us. They didn't think our defensive guys were good enough. It's an all offensive skill players list. No Raiders on it anywhere. That's some BS, quite frankly. I think we could have warranted somebody being up on there. Because I just don't think it's right. There's an event for the league going on, and one team is not represented. Especially a team storied and as the Oakland Raiders are. So, now we'd all seen, and I discussed it on my show last night, Gabe Jackson, Kelechi Osemele, guard duo that allowed zero sacks all of last season. That was compiled out of Sup Elizabeth. The NFL absolutely loves to hate us, Terry. We're the team you love to hate. But as much as you love to hate us, we're always there knocking. So, like I'd given love last night, Jackson and Osemele, they were two of only 4 guards that did not allow a sack all through last season. Which is a phenomenal feat. Coming out here in the last day or two, another fabulous feat bestowed upon the car insurance. It's Mr. Donald Penn. Penn is only one of 4 tackles to allow just 1 sack with 350 plus pass block snaps. Only 1 sack. Now mind you, there were 3 others. Second on this list was Dwayne Brown from the Texans. Now, to put even more perspective on this Donald Penn stat of allowing only 1 sack, Donald Penn had 200 more snaps than the second place guy, Mr. Brown, who allowed only 1. 200 more! And he still only allowed that 1 sack. Almost 640 some snaps. And only allowed 1 sack. I think that would be great, Chuck. And that's what everybody doesn't understand. All these guys from outside, they don't understand that the Gabe Jackson deal is huge too. Monumental. Which is why they 5th-yeared Khalil and put Mack into next year so that we can deal with him. That's totally why we're dealing with him. Because we got Jackson, we got Carr, we got to deal with. Everybody knows it. I have no worries that either one of those guys are going to get signed at all. It's just trying to drive clicks. It's slow news cycle. There's nothing to really talk about right now. It is what it is. So they're trying to dig it up. But you know what? I guess their stupidity gives me something to talk about. So, because we can all sit back and laugh at how stupid they are. So, I guess that gives us something to talk about in the evening to close out our silver and black day. We can just laugh at all these goofballs. So, that is a huge statistic for Donald Penn. Yeah, Penn only allowing 1 sack, You got Gabe and Kalishi only allowing the big 0. I mean, and we're tightening up the other end. Oh, man. This season just is looking absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, there are some battles. There are some battles still going on the offense. Things that are not 100% decided upon. One of those is our backup quarterback position. Now, we go out and we sign E.J. Manuel. I've heard lots of different and differing opinions on what the plan is for E.J. Manuel. We have the rookie Connor Cook, who obviously we didn't get a great sampling of him last season. We did see him. We did see him in the playoffs. We did see him coming in relief for injury for McGloin. He looked okay. He had a couple plays and some passes that made you go, look at that guy. Maybe this kid's got a little something, something. I honestly think if our offensive coordinator didn't have his head firmly placed in his posterior in the playoffs, he could have given us a little better chance. Everybody knew that we were coming into the game against the Texans with our backs completely against the wall and relying on a rookie quarterback, a third-string rookie quarterback, making his first career start in the playoffs. Something that never happened before. Everybody knew the chances of that going well were slim to none. We all knew it. We all wanted to have hope. I even had a makeshift Connor Cook jersey. I turned my Carr jersey into a Cook jersey for the playoffs. I was trying every wiggy juju I could to help us to a victory. Anything that I could do. But, so, it just blew my mind that we come out and we don't even, the first several series, we don't even give the kid a chance. We hand the ball off and then we just dump it out to the wings in the backfield. We never even let Connor Cook try to throw the ball down the field. We were just vanilla until the game was out of hand already and we had little to none chance left. I thought the play calling was vanilla and terrible. And Connor Cook was basically set up to fail. So, what's up, Brett? So, as you guys are... Let me look back these comments, because this is what I wanted to see what you guys thought as well. Is, what did you think E.J. Manuel... Assassin Angel Eyes thinks he's trade bait. Randolph thinks he will be the backup. Now, I've heard some, like I said, I've heard some different opinions on this. I've heard that they just brought E.J. Manuel in to push Connor Cook, to challenge him, to be somebody that's clicking on his heels, that knows he's got to work to stay the number 2. But I've also heard they don't think Cook's got it, and they're concerned about the number 2, so they brought in E.J., who's got a little experience. He's been an NFL starter. And hopefully he can help out and possibly be the number 2 if needed. I've also heard there's no way EJ's even going to make the final roster, 53-man roster, and he will be gone for sure. That he's just here to fill that spot. So, like I said, it's an interesting little offensive battle here. We've seen how important a backup quarterback is with what happened last season. So, Brett's got a new job. What are you doing, Brett? What's your new job? Curious. I see it rolling through. I try to pay attention to the comments. Sometimes they get by me. But do not think. I always go back and I read all the comments after the show. So, for some reason, it rolls by me. No, I always see them. And I appreciate each and every one. So, Cook was good in college. I agree, Randolph. He was good in college. But, like I said, I haven't seen enough of the kid to discount him. I do not believe The one game he came in relief, he wasn't expected to play. One game he came in relief, he wasn't expected to play. The next game, we handcuffed the poor kid. Handcuffed him. Never even gave him a chance. Hand the ball off, dump it off behind the line of scrimmage. That's all it was the first several series. We handcuffed the kid. When we finally let him throw it, he made some plays. Threw some touchdowns. I agree. That's what I'm saying, Chuck. That's what I'm saying. Typically, you're always going to want 3 quarterbacks on roster. We had 3 quarterbacks last year. We had McGloin, we had Cook. You can't just roll with one. So, do we keep E.J. Manuel and he's a third? Is he going to stay as a third? Is he going to be happy as a third? Who knows? Jimbo, he's trying to change subjects. So what do we got here? How about much different or the same? The atmosphere will be the same during the... I honestly think the vibe and the atmosphere that is the Raider Nation will travel. I believe there may be a little lull at the beginning. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement at the very beginning. There may be a little bit of a lull. But I think the Raider Nation will embrace. It's going to be a little bit of a feeling out period there at the beginning, but I think the Raider Nation will embrace the move when it gets here. We've got several years to prepare for it. There's going to be hurt feelings, which are completely understandable. If you live in Oakland and they're down the street from you, I completely understand. But then you got people in Vegas who have now moving in down the street who are fans as well. You have fans in that area that are now having them be closer, make it more available for them for games. Yes, I think the home fan base will change a little bit. There'll be a new black hole. But we'll still be there. We'll still be there. The Raider Nation will still be there representing. Wherever Derek Carr's lining up under center. Wherever Khalil Mack's got his hand in the dirt, ready to rush and put the sack and lay the smack down on an opposing quarterback. Wherever Amari Cooper's toe tapping in the end zone. Wherever Crabtree's dragging a toe down the sideline. Raider Nation will be there to cheer. We will be there to yell, Coop! We will be there. I don't care if it's Vegas. I don't care if it's Oakland. We will be there. Sub Mark Anthony? That's what I'm saying, Randolph. Everybody says, it's a transient. It's a transient community. Mark Cuban, talking smack. Chuck, I don't know. I'm torn on this. We're torn in my own household, and we have been ever since this news came out. Because my wife grew up an hour from Oakland, an hour from the stadium. Family members are season ticket holders, so I grew up different geographically, and I can see both sides of it. But I honestly think that the Raiders fan base is strong. And like I said, there may be some of the faces are different in the black hole. But are you telling me there ain't going to be a black hole at a Raiders game? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I just do not believe it. Some of the faces may be different. Some of the butts in the seats may not be the same. But we'll be there. Rude Boy, we talked about that already, man. That is the biggest BS story. The Derek Carr story is so BS. That is a slow news cycle and somebody just trying to have something to write about, man. They're just making up some BS. Absolute garbage reporting. Mudslinging, that's some TMZ, National Enquirer, scraping up, just making stories where there ain't a story to add. I agree. Now, Chuck, don't be negative now. Let's give it a chance. I think it can be... there are a lot of variables to this Vegas thing. Because now, there's never been another city like Vegas that's starting to get professional teams. They just get an NHL team, now they're getting an NFL team. That's an NFL, that's big time. So, we've never ever had a situation that has happened like this, where you have a team, a storied team, with a strong fan base, a strong national, worldwide fan base, that gets moved and stuck in a place like Las Vegas. Because there's really nowhere else like Las Vegas, quite like it, in the U.S. It's kind of its own thing. So Chuck lives in Nevada, so he's got some little inside knowledge on that. There's a lot of variables. I totally can see guys getting in trouble. I can see lots of things happening. It's all about how they're going to manage the players, how they're going to manage a lot of the inner workings of being in a community like this. Thing is, these guys, they're young kids, man. They can get in trouble anywhere. I mean, Vegas isn't that far away when they're at home. Not everyone is mature enough to handle it. And I agree. I think there's a small percentage of, I can see some young kids come there. Comes from a small school. You know, and you're going to go play for the Raiders in Vegas. So, what's going on with Derek Carr, Arthur says? Nothing. Derek Carr is just sitting at home chilling, waiting for training camp, getting ready to get his big fat contract before the season starts. That's it. That's all the news on Derek Carr. He's 100% healthy, and he's going to get signed. And we do not need to worry about it. Raider Nation, we have other things to worry about. Worrying about DC4 is not one of them this offseason. He will get locked down. We're going to have him for years to come. That kid is going to be leaving us for a long, long time. Absolutely. 100%. Now, Chuck, I hadn't heard the Alden Smith name for a while, which is nice. Because, I think that's a totally dead story, too. So, but I see you brought him up as a joke, but I was just shocked that I have not seen for days any mention of Alden Smith. So I think Raider Nation is finally starting to sink in, and everybody's just over that. So, another big battle that we have going on. Oh, I don't know if they're going to franchise tag him, Keith. I don't think they'd do that to him. Because that just prolongs what needs to happen. Because we got to sign Khalil Mack next season. So I don't see us franchise tagging him. I think he gets a contract. He's going to get a contract. They're not going to tag him. I do not believe that's going to happen. That's too big of a gamble. They cannot deal with two gigantic contracts like Carr and Khalil Mack next season. No way. They will get that done this season. Absolutely. Gabe Jackson, Derek Carr will be taken care of before we get into training camp. 100% believe that. 100% believe that. Yes, but they exercised the 5th year for Mack, Keith. So that means now we do not have to deal with Mack until next season. That means he is good and he is covered for this season because we exercised the 5th year. So now, Mack is good for next season. So we took Mack off the board because it was looking like we were going to have to deal with Mack, Carr, and Gabe Jackson. But now, since we took the 5th year option on Mack, that pushes Mack out to next year. So we'll deal with him next year. That just leaves us Gabe. And honestly, what I'm thinking is they've been signing some free agents. They've been signing some of these rookies. I just think they're getting through sifting through the bottom, getting these last guys signed, getting all the nickels and dimes counted up, and then they're going to sit down and deal with these last two guys. I just think they're getting all the other business out of the way first. These two guys are the most important. They're going to focus on them when it becomes time to deal with them. I honestly do not think that is a concern at all. Not at all. Now, another battle where we're actually looking fairly deep. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Assassin Angel Eyes. NFL doesn't want players in casinos. How are they supposed to check into their rooms when registration areas in the casino? Well, they are going to have to completely change their stance on the gambling facilities and the casinos and having players around them. Because the current stance that they try to have is just basically impossible. And I think that's why, if you guys remember back several weeks back, when we had the NFL professional football players arm wrestling competition in Vegas, none of those, there was a lot of talk about it, but you didn't see any fines get levied on those guys, no suspensions were handed down, and if you keep watching the news, I bet you don't see anything come out about that. Why? Because the NFL is going to start having to lighten the way they view Vegas. Because it has been like the plague. They basically wanted nothing there. If you remember a year or two ago when they shut down the Tony Romo Fantasy Football Convention that he was going to be speaking at. They shut that down. They wanted nothing NFL related in Vegas at all. They wanted everybody kept out. They didn't want it around the gambling. Nothing. But they're going to have to start lightening up on that. And I think they know that. And I think that's why you're not going to see any fines or any of the guys get in trouble from the arm wrestling thing that happened a month or so ago. Because they have to start laxing. They have to start backing off. Because just like Assassin Angel Eyes says, it's impossible for them to stay out of a casino when that's where they're going to stay the day before the game. It's just impossible. Just impossible. No, Carr's not taking a pay cut. Oh, no. DC's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. He deserves to get paid. He should be the highest paid guy on the team. Right behind him should be Khalil Mack next year. And I don't think there's a single guy on the Raiders that would argue that fact either. They would all be like, pay that man. Pay him now and pay him too. We got MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Pay them. Pay them. Deserve to be paid. Now, back to these wide receivers. We're looking solid at wide receivers. Obviously, we've already got, coming off of the 1,000-yard duo from last season, we got Cooper and Crabtree. Both go over 1,000 last season. Oh, he'll get paid more than Luck. I agree. We bring back Roberts, who I'm very happy. I'm a big Seth Roberts fan. Glad we brought back Seth Roberts. Very happy about that. Then we go out and grab Cordarrelle Patterson. So there's our top four right there. And Patterson is a returning freak. Speed freak. Flash, they call him. Flash. Speed freak. Then you got Johnny Holton. My son has a soft spot for Johnny Holton because he signed his hat after the big Seth Roberts overtime touchdown in Tampa game last season when he jumped into the stands. So my son's got a soft spot for Johnny Holton, so I'm kind of hoping Johnny Holton makes the team. And then we got some rookies. Got the dog beater Zamora, the wide receiver from Baylor. We all seen the video. Absolutely repulsed by this guy, and I really don't want to see him on our team. But then you got Isaac Whitney from USC. You got Keon Hatcher from Arkansas State, who has really turned some heads. And you got KJ Brent from Wake Forest. So probably not all these guys are going to make the 53-man roster. I see a couple of them probably making practice squads. You've also got Mickens as well in the mix. We're deep at wide receiver. I think we're solid. We've got some young guys, and the top four of Crabtree, Cooper, Roberts, and Patterson. I agree, Chuck. Patterson has never played with a quarterback like Derek Carr, and I'm very excited about having him added in the mix. Switching him up with Seth Roberts, throwing him in as a breather for Crabtree or Coop as just a complete deep threat. I know, Randolph, I agree the dog beater's got some talent. Man, I don't want to have to cheer for him. Put him on somebody else's team. we've got such a good thing going on right now. I just don't want any negativity on our team, on our squad right now. I just don't. Alex, go and Google Ishmael Zamora, wide receiver from Baylor, dog beating. Watch the video. It's repulsive. It's repulsive. We've went over it for a while now. I think everybody knows how the commish feels about Mr. Zamora. Don't beat your dogs. Don't beat your kids. Don't beat your wives. Don't beat anybody. Just beat the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers. That's all we need to beat. I'm all about the peace and the love. We don't need to be beating on nobody. Dog, big time. Leslie probably seen the video. Oh, Alex, well, it's your first time? Thank you for joining me, Alex. Hopefully you'll come back. I am here every Monday through Friday, 7 Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. So I hope you come back, Alex. Thanks for stopping in. But this guy, I mean, we've all seen it, so I'm not going to go back into it. I'm on the record many times with how I feel about Mr. Zamora. So Prime's on the record with me. We broke it down on Goes to the Post, so no need to go into all that. Now, when I started looking at this awesome list of wide receivers that we were going to be able to build our squad out of this season, it got me thinking that, Raiders wide receivers. What would Chris Lentz want me to do with Raiders wide receivers? He would want me to put together some sort of top 10 or top 5 list. So, but instead of giving you a top 10, I went for the top 5. And I hybrided it a little bit. Oh, Alex is new to the football scene. Well, Alex, join me every weeknight, and we are going to get you hooked up and ready for the season, my man. Because you got me on the East Coast, kicking it for an hour, and then right after me, you got Raider Bear on the West Coast. Between the two of us, we are going to let you know everything you need to know, man, to get ready for the Raiders season. We are going to keep you up to date of every little bit of Raiders nuggets. Because like I'm telling you, man, if I could dig an hour every night out of the Raiders news that is going on right now, I'm giving you pretty much everything there is. Because there ain't a lot right now for, May 17th. In the middle of nothing going on. We got some OTAs, you got a little rookie mini camp, you got a little mandatory mini camp coming up. Man, there ain't nothing. These guys ain't even wearing helmets right now. So, heck yeah, we gotta welcome Alex with open arms, man. This new generation of Raider fans, we want to welcome them. My son's in this new birthing group, next generation of Raiders fans. He's 10 years old. He's growing up right now, witnessing. The guy he will be telling his kids about someday is like I talk about Jim Plunkett. He'll be talking about Derek Carr. And that's just awesome. The way I talk about Tim Brown. Yes, I did hear about the new helmets. Getting some new technology, Jimbo. It's supposed to hopefully help with concussions. It's supposed to be better for head injuries. So that's good. I mean, we got technology improving everything else. So there's no reason we shouldn't be using the technology to improve the helmets. Because if we can get this head injury thing taken care of, football's going to be secure and the NFL's going to be secure for decades and decades to come. But that thing's the elephant in the room, man. We got to get the heads taken care of. We can't have our heroes out there getting their brains scrambled for our entertainment. That's not what we want. That's not what we want at all. So that's got to get taken care of. Now, like I said, look at these wide receivers. I'm going to give you the Commish's top 5 Raider receivers of all time. Now, a little twist in here. I did not say Raider wide receivers. I said Raider receivers. That means any guy catching the ball. Tight ends, wide receivers. So not just wide receivers, greatest Raiders receivers. Catching receptions, going out. These are my top 5. Number 5. we've been talking so much with all these top 10s. I've been throwing these in, intermixed them with the shows, give me a little nugget along with the news. I really like talking about the historic Raiders players. I feel a lot of the younger generation, they need to understand the greatness of the Raiders before the Raiders that they know now. And number 5 on my list is one of those guys. Played for the Raiders from 74 to 84. The Ghost, Dave Casper. Like I said, receivers. He's a tight end. But Casper made so many iconic plays, iconic catches. Just, I mean, do I need to say anything more? Absolutely, Randolph. 100% agree. That's why I like to throw this little flavor in. I mean, I got an hour-long show, and I just like to throw in a little legendary flavor just to share the love to the historic Raiders that came before the team that we love now. And plus, you know, it's a slow time. It's the off season. When the season gets here, we're going to have so much juice we won't be able to fit it into an hour. But right now, it's time to relish in our past history. So number 5, the Ghost, Dave Casper. What's up, Raider Ed? The Ghost. My number 5, the Commish, top 10 Raider receivers of all time. Number 4, won 3 Super Bowl rings with the Raiders. Led the NFL in receiving in 1974. Led it with touchdown receptions in 74 and 76. Twice he led the receiving end of the league's longest pass play of the year, including the 99-yard TD he caught in 1983. A record, of course, which will never be broken. So number 4 on the Commish's list of top 10 Raider receivers of all time, none other than Cliff Branch. One of the top Raider receivers on anybody's list. Obviously, 3 rings as a Raider. It just puts him in a class with very, very few others. Cliff Branch is, I mean, his images on NFL films are iconic. He is just a personified Raider. I can't, there's not even enough I can say about Cliff Branch. If you don't know about Cliff Branch, Alex, any of the new guys, go YouTube him up. Please. Learn your history. Please. Because these are the guys that we all grew up on. These are the ones that Raider Nation grew up on. Guys like Dave Casper and Cliff Branch. And my number 3 Raider receiver of all time. Now, like I said, not wide receiver, but receiver. Anybody that's going out and catching receptions. This guy was also on another one of my top 10 lists. One of the top 10 Commish's Raiders free agents of all time. The late, great Todd Christensen. Todd Christensen, he put together a 4-year stretch that was unseen as anybody at that position before between 1983 and 1986. He was amazing. He set apart the tight end position like it had never really seen before at that point. He took what Dave Casper had done to that position and took it into heights nobody had even thought was possible. That's why Todd Christensen is my number 3 on my list of the top 5. I do too, Randolph. I'm a huge Raiders football card collector. I have thousands of Raiders football cards. Thousands. And I've got a ton of Todd Christensen's cards. Ton of them. A lot of Cliff Branch. A lot of these other two guys too. Both of these guys were voted on Friday as our top two wideouts on the Raider Reaction Raider Nation All Raider team. These were our number one and our number two. They're number one and number two on everybody's list. Everybody's list is the top two wide receivers in Raiders history. So it's not just me. Not just me at all. Number two. Now there could be a little argument as to who's number two and who's number one. But my number one, to me, is he's number one. He's my favorite Raider of all time, let alone my favorite wide receiver of all time. So my number two, number 25, Fred Biletnikoff. By far, one of the top two greatest Raider receivers of all time. In 71, he led the NFL in receptions. For 14 years, he made key plays as a Raider. Averaged 15.2 yards a reception for his career. 15.2 yards a reception for his career. That is amazing. That means he averaged a first down every time his hands caught the ball. Just being able to say that, that statistic is unfathomable. You moved the chains every time you caught the ball. Absolutely amazing. Freddie Biletnikoff, my number two Raider receiver of all time. Number one, I'm the Commish 81. He's my favorite Raider of all time. Oh, tell her to get better, Leslie. I hope she gets better. Thanks for joining us, Leslie. Have a good night. Tell her the Commish says I hope she gets better. But everybody knows, it's no secret. My favorite Raider, Commish 81. 81 is sprinkled through my life. There's a reason for that. And that reason is Tim Brown. He's my favorite Raider receiver of all time. He's my favorite Raider of all time. Number 81. Did more with less than anybody ever. If he had a quarterback through his whole career, what could Tim Brown have been? The possibilities were endless. Even with the carousel of quarterbacks that he had, he still was statistically the greatest Raider receiver of all time. 199 receiving touchdowns and 100 total as an Oakland Raider. Timmy Brown. I mean, come on. Guy catching passes from Marinovich, Hoying, Hostetler, Shredder. I mean, come on. That poor guy. Finally, at the end of his career, they're like, he gets rich again, and he's just like, oh, thank you. Finally. Somebody give me a quarterback. Finally. Ugh. Poor guy, man. Just could not catch a break. Could not catch a break. So there you have it. Tim Brown, my number one Raider receiver of all time. I will drink to that too, Randolph. That brings me Jay Shredder. Because he shredded my dreams, Chuck. That's what I always called him when I was a kid, because he shredded my dreams. He would play so good. That dude could be so hot and then so freaking cold the next game, man. I'll never forget the, was it 51-7 drubbing that Buffalo gave us in the snow? I'll never forget that game, man. That was a childhood killer game for me. Never forget that one. Never forget that one. But as I close out every one of my solo episodes with the Commish and Raider Reaction, I like to close it out with my WTH. My WTH for today is the WTH that I'm sure most of us have been saying. This story just keeps going. It hasn't went away for years. The guy goes out and murders some people. gets thrown in prison, and he still can't get out of the news. He gets acquitted, goes through a whole trial. He's already in prison for murder. We shouldn't even care anyway, but he's still in the news. The guy hangs himself. He's still in the news. He's been dead. They've buried him. The dirt's starting to settle. And we're still talking about him. Now we're talking about his gay lovers, his letters to his fiancée. We're talking about stigma markings on his body, Bible verses on his head. I don't care. The man's dead. He's dead. Let it rest. Move on. I understand it's a slow news cycle. We got to dig up dirt on Derek Carr. We got to keep beating the drum for Aaron Hernandez. But please, please, just get over the story and move on. There's nothing else to juice out of the Aaron Hernandez story. It's as dead a story as he is. Let it go. What the hell? Like I do every single weeknight, I load it up on the East Coast for a solid hour of Raiders flavor and insight. And then we throw it deep to the West Coast, to the infamous Raider Bear, for another solid hour of Raider flavor. Take it away, Raider Bear. Time to go deep. Take it for 6. Thanks for joining me. If it's your first time, thanks for spending a minute with the Commish. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. I'm here every weeknight, talking silver and black. That's all we want to talk about. That's what we love. We love the Raiders. We love the Raider Nation. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the thumbs. Thank you for joining me. I'm here every single weeknight, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. All of Raider Reaction vintage webcasts are all archived on my YouTube channel, Hardcore Challenge Live Studio Webcast. Go check it out, subscribe, check out some old flavor from last season, old vintage episodes, live footage of games. Go check it all out. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back here tomorrow night with Ghost of the Post with Prime and the Commish. Till then, peace, love, Raider Nation.